Hi, my name is Gwen Surratt, and I'm a yoga instructor with Healthy Columbus. We are today going to do a practice using the blocks, and I'm going to show you how the blocks can not only help you if you're feeling like you're not quite flexible enough to get into the poses, but how also you can use a block to really enhance and deepen your pose, no matter how flexible you are. So the block, we're calling it a block party today. Let's get started in our practice by coming to a comfortable seated position, and make sure you have your blocks handy. You want to have 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks at home, you can also use books. A couple thick dictionaries work really well. So just make sure you have something ready to use as a block, and let's come to a comfortable seated position. Lifting up really tall through the spine, you want to think about where your shoulders are, where the edge of your shoulders are, and we're going to roll the shoulders back. Your hands are palms up, your collarbones are wide, and you're lifting tall through your spine. Close your eyes for a few moments to just land on your mat, to really settle in. Inhale, take a deep breath, expand, feel that opening through the heart, through the chest. And when you exhale, everything sort of sinks towards this imaginary midline. I like to think of it as sinking towards the spine. And again, inhale, expand, open, feel that broadening of your shoulders. And exhale, and release. A couple more deep breaths on your own. And then let's begin with some movement, lowering the right ear to the right shoulder. Take your right hand, let it rest above the left ear. So you're not pulling, you're letting the weight of the arm just sink into the head. Reach your left hand to the mat and allow yourself to just lean into your right side. A couple more deep breaths here. And then come back up, and we'll go to the other side. So let the head lean into the shoulder, feel the weight of the head, bring your hand to rest right above your ear, and then let the arm go limp. So that adds a little weight here, creating a little more stretch through the shoulder and the neck. Breathe deeply. Okay, now we're going to take our blocks and bring both of them over. Now, you can stack your blocks one of several ways. You can have them stacked this way. You can have them stacked on their side. If your back is tight or your hips are tight, you can take one block and stack it long ways on top of a block and place your elbows here and let your head, the forehead, rest in the palm of your hand. So you're just letting the head rest here. So you can be here, you can be here, you can turn your block. So however low you want to go comfortably, just play with that. And in any of these positions, you can let your elbows rest and your head rest on your hands. So choose where you want to be. Take a moment, get settled in, close your eyes. And then pay attention to what it feels like in your hips, where your thigh bones meet the hip bones, that joint there. You may feel a little tension, a little tightness. See if you can soften by taking a deep breath and really grounding, anchoring your hips to the mat. A couple more deep breaths here. Inhale and lift your head. Now set your blocks aside, reach your hands to the mat, And bring the hands a little wider than your shoulders. And let's sway with one breath to each side. So sway into one side, one breath. Come back to center and sway to the other side, one breath. And center. And sway and center and sway and center. And one more. Sway, center, sway, center. Walk the hands back in. Take a breath. And let's turn. Bring your right hand behind your hip, left hand to the right knee. Square your shoulders up with the right side of the mat or the right side of the room, looking over your shoulder. Try to keep the spine nice and tall. And then unwind. Bring your right hand to the left knee. Roll your shoulders back. Square up with the left wall and look over your left shoulder. And unwind. Very good. And let's lie back on the mat. So your knees are bent, feet are flat. Lie back on the mat. Let your hands rest on your belly and at your heart. Take a deep breath. Inhale again, big deep breath. Exhale. Inhale and exhale. Now bring your knees up and extend your legs up in the air. Place your hands palms down slightly under your hips. Flex your feet. Lower your right leg almost to the mat. And then when you lift, you begin to lower the left leg almost to the mat. So it looks like you're almost walking on the ceiling here. So it's shifting one leg to the other, not touching the mat, but almost. Working that breath. Keep your feet flexed. And one more set. And come back up. Bend the knees. Take your right hand, pull your knees to the right side. Extend the left arm out. Look over your left shoulder. Feel that extension, that length through the arms and the shoulders. Allow your hips to just sink into the mat. Then come back to center. And knees to the opposite side. Reach your right arm out. Look to the right. And come back to center. Let's cross your ankles and make circles here with the knees. Get a little bit of warmth coming into the low back, and then reverse. And then hug the knees in, and let's rock up. Lifting tall. Take a breath. Extend your right arm up. Turn to your left. Get really tall. And then bring the right hand down. Press in and twist. Look over your shoulder. And then come back to center. Extend the opposite arm up. Reach up. Bring your opposite hand down to the mat. Lean in and bring the left hand down and twist, looking over your shoulder. unwind. Okay, now we're going to come into hands and knees pose. This is called cat and cow. So bring your knees under your hips, hands under your shoulders. Arch your back, come into that sway back shape, looking up, and then exhale, round, looking at your knees, rounding the back, coming into that angry cat shape. Inhale, cow pose, exhale, cat. Inhale, cow, exhale, cat. And again, inhale, cow, exhale, cat. Inhale, cow, exhale, cat. Let's extend the right leg back, left arm forward. Get that length. Breathe in, breathe out. And release. And left leg and right arm. Release. And then let's walk your legs back and come down to your belly. Elbows are right underneath your shoulders. Forearms are parallel. Shoulders are back, heart forward. Press the tops of your feet into the mat. Lift your knees. Look ahead. This is called Sphinx Pose. This is a pretty gentle back bend. Begins to bring a little heat, a little fire to the low back. And then release. Let the head drop down. Let the shoulders slide towards the spine. Let the weight of the head come forward. Take a breath. And then inhale, lift the head. Roll the shoulders back, look ahead, and then lift through the elbows and lift through the kneecaps. So from here, we're creating a little flow. Take a breath and exhale, come down, drop the head forward, and then inhale, lift the head, roll up through the elbows, lift through the kneecaps, exhale, come down, and relax. And again, inhale and lift up. Exhale and come back down. And slide your hands back under your shoulders and let's lift back into tabletop. Now, find your blocks, bring them forward, and you can have your blocks any height you like. Whatever works for you. But bring your right foot forward between your blocks. So you're framing the right foot with your blocks. Your hands are down and you're sending your hips forward, looking up. You can stay right here. This can be your lunge, or if you want to add a little juice to it, you can tuck the left foot in and lift the left knee. Still sinking through the hips and looking ahead. So this is one of those poses, if you're not real flexible, you may want to come to the highest level on your blocks and be right here. If you are pretty flexible, you might want to come down a little lower and use the blocks to help you really sink through the hips a little more. So just play with what feels good to you. Another clue to this pose is to squeeze your inner thighs towards the midline. That really helps to stabilize the position that you're in. Take a few more deep breaths. And then I like to lower my block to the first level. Bring my left hand onto the block and then turn and extend your right arm up. Look up at your hand, squeeze your inner thighs towards the middle. release. Now lower the left knee, and still framing your foot with your blocks, extend the right leg out and flex your foot. Pull back a bit to stack your left hip above your left knee. Sink your hips back and then bow forward over your right leg. And then inhale, lift up halfway, flat back. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, flat back. One more. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, flat back. And then bend the knee. Bring your hands to your thighs and take a moment to sort of center yourself here. And if you feel too wobbly, you can walk your foot over a couple inches to the right. Link your thumbs together, reach up, and then reach back. Send the hips forward, shoulders back, look up where the wall meets the ceiling, and resist pulling your thumbs apart. This is called Crescent Moon. And then release. Lace your fingers together behind your back. Straighten the elbows again. And let's sink the hands downward towards the mat and come in a little deeper with your back bend, looking up to the ceiling. Feeling those collarbones spreading wide, squeezing your inner thighs towards the midline. And release. Hands back to the blocks. Bring your right knee back. Left foot forward. So take your time. If you want to have the blocks adjusted to the higher level, feel free to do that. Or you can come down to the lower level, whatever you like. Tuck your back foot in. Lift the back knee. Sink through the hips and look ahead. And then plant your right hand down. You can have it on the mat, or you can have it on the low level of the block, lowest level of the block. Turn and extend the left arm up. Down, lower the right knee, still framing your foot or your leg. Extend the left leg out, flex your foot. Try to stack your right hip above the right knee. Exhale, bow forward into the leg. Inhale, come up, flatten your back. Exhale down. Inhale, lift. Exhale down. Inhale up. Two more. Exhale down. And up. Exhale down. And up. And then bend the knee, flatten your left foot, lift up. If you feel wobbly, walk your foot over a couple inches to the left. Link your thumbs together, reach up. Resist pulling your thumbs apart. Reach tall, and then point your fingers to the wall behind you. Send the hips forward. Look up where the wall meets the ceiling. And release. Bring your hands behind your back. Lace your fingers together. Roll the shoulders back. Sink the knuckles down towards the mat. Go in a little deeper back bend. Still squeezing your inner thighs towards the midline. Feeling that broadening of your collarbones. And release. Bring the hands forward. And let's come back into tabletop. Now, in this next pose, you can use your blocks or not. It really depends on the flexibility of your hamstrings. You can tuck your toes in and lift and sink back into downward dog, letting the head hang. So the traditional down dog is bringing your hands to the mat and coming into the pose. But if you want to use blocks, you can. I like to use them on the flattest, the lowest level, and spread my hands really wide and let the heel of the hand press into the edge of the block here. Bring your head, let your head relax, sink your heels back, find your breath. Then inhale and walk to the front of the mat. And then inhale, lift up halfway, sweep your arms out and up. Clasp your right wrist, turn your palm up towards the ceiling, get really long through the ribs and lean to your left, lengthening those right ribs, allowing them to fan open. Clasp your left wrist, reach up way high, and then lean in, fanning through the left side. And come back up. And relax your hands. So one thing we can do with our blocks is place the block between your thighs. So we're going to go through sun salutation with the block between your thighs. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. And then exhale, and just kind of waddle, walk your feet back. Come into plank, you're in the top of a push-up, still squeezing the blocks, and come down to the mat, and inhale, and curl up. Exhale, tuck your toes in, lift, sink the heels down, let the head relax. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in and out. Then inhale, and just kind of walk, waddle, however, come up to the front of the mat, lift up halfway. Exhale, bow forward, big deep stretch. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, hands to your heart. We're going to do 3 of these, so we've got 2 more to go. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward. Lift up halfway. Fully engaging your thighs, walk back, come into your plank, squeezing the block, and then lower to the mat, curl up, lift into downward dog. Send the weight back, find that breath, inhale and exhale. And walk the feet forward. Lift up halfway. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, reach out and up. Exhale, hands to the heart. One more. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, walk back. Come into plank. Lower to the mat. Inhale, curl up. Exhale, downward dog. Take a couple deep breaths, sink back into your heels. Inhale, walk forward. Lift up halfway. Bow forward. Sweep the arms out and up. Hands down to your heart. Set the block aside. Take a deep breath and let's come into a wide stance. Your feet are 3.5 to 4 feet apart and they're parallel. Here you can use the blocks. You can use one block or two, however many you happen to need. Placing them between your feet, any height you like, and resting your hands on the block. So whatever works best for you. Let the upper body hang forward. Let your hands rest on the block or the mat, whatever you can reach. Let the head hang. Work your breath and inhale deeply. Couple more deep breaths, just sort of hanging loose here. And then inhale and lift up. Now, if your hand reaches the mat, place your hand down right beneath your head. If it doesn't reach the mat, put your block there, any height you need, and place it right beneath your head. Turn to your right, extend the right arm up. And release. Right hand down, turn to the left. Extend the left arm up. And release. Set your blocks aside. Walk your hands over to the right. Hold on to the right ankle or foot, whatever you can reach. Turn and center your chest towards the leg. Bow into it. And come back to center. Walk your hands over to the left. Center your torso with the leg. Bow into it. Come back to center, hands to your hips, and float up. Now bring your hands behind your back and lace your fingers together. Again, rolling the shoulders back, opening through the collarbones. Bend your knees and bow forward. Bring the arms up and over. Let the head hang. Allow yourself to just sink towards the floor. Breathe in, knees are soft. Breathe deep. Allow gravity to do all the work. Do not force this pose. Just come forward however far the body will go. And then release the hands. Gently roll up. Walk your feet in once or twice. Heel toe, stop and roll up. Take a breath. And then find your block again. And let's turn your right foot to the back of your mat. Turn your left foot in about a 45-degree angle. And let's use the block, placing it on the little toe side of your foot. Again, you can have it any height you would like, placing it right at the ankle side of your foot, and turn and extend your left arm up. So you want to allow your hip to sway out Allow the ribs to get really long. Extend the arm up and make sure that your ribs and your shoulder and your right ear are stacked above your right leg. This is called triangle pose, Utthita Trikonasana. Then inhale, come back up, take your block, and let's shorten your stance a bit. So shorten your stance a few inches and then turn so both hip bones are facing the short end of your mat. Take your block in your left hand and again place it on the inside of your foot, any height you would like, and turn. You're pulling the right hip back, rotating to your right, looking up at the right hand. This is revolve triangle. And release and roll up. Turn your feet so that the left foot is pointing to the front end of the mat. Widen your stance again. Get long, come into T-pose with the arms. Bring your block down to the little toe side of your foot, the outside of your foot, and pull your left hip back. Let that right hip sway out, extend, looking up at the right hand. And then release and come back up. Now shorten your stance a little bit. Turn so both hips are facing forward. Take the block in your right hand, bring it down beside the big toe side of your foot, and turn and extend your left arm up. Bring your feet together, and let's just take a moment in a pose called Tadasana, which is a standing rest pose. Your feet are directly underneath your hip bones. Your arms are by your side. Close your eyes, pull your chin in an inch or so, and just soften through the knees. What happens when you're in this pose, as soon as you soften through the knees, you tend to sway a little bit, and that's okay. Just allow the body to rock or go side to side or make circles, whatever it feels like doing for just a few breaths here. And then open your eyes. Now the next pose is called tree pose. And in tree pose, we are going to put our weight on one side of the body, which is, it'll be your right. So put your weight in your right leg. Look down and see if you can center your chin over your foot and then look ahead. Find a point of focus on the floor in front of you. Bring your left knee up and turn it out. So this is not only a balanced pose, it's a hip opener. You're going to place your foot either right at the ankle with the toe touching, or you're going to bring it into the calf below the knee, or pull it into the thigh above the knee. So you choose where you want to be. Bring your hands to your heart, and then inhale and reach up. Get really long through the torso. Keep your gaze focused in front of you, 5 to 10 feet in front of you. And then bring your arms out in T-pose. Breathe in, blooming tree, and release. Same thing, other side. So lots of things can affect your balance. If you haven't slept well, if you've had too much caffeine, if you're on medication, too much wine last night, any of those things can mess with your balance as well as stress. So it doesn't matter how many years you've been coming to the mat. Once in a while, you'll have a shaky time in your balance. So just be nice to yourself. Bring your weight into your left. Center. Look ahead, find that point of focus. Bring the knee up, turn it out. Place the foot where you want it to go. And then reach up. Get nice and long through the spine. And then bring your arms out wide. You may notice one side's a little easier than the other. It's just the way we're made. And release. And shake that out. So let's come back to the front of the mat. And we're going to go through sun salutation again. Inhale, sweep the arms up. Exhale, bow forward. Inhale, lift up halfway. Exhale, step back into plank. Lower to the mat. Inhale, come up. Exhale, downward dog. Sink back, press through the heels, close your eyes. And then inhale and come forward again, lifting up halfway. Bow forward, sweep the arms out and up. Hands down to your heart, step your right leg back. Coming into Warrior One, the left knee is bent. Again, you're squeezing your inner thighs towards the middle, reaching the arms up. Coming into Warrior One, dropping your tailbone, pulling the muscles that surround your belly button towards your spine, working that breath. And then bringing your hands to your heart. So the next pose is Warrior Three. And if balance is a little challenging for you, you can always use your blocks in this particular balance pose by placing the blocks the highest level, a little bit in front of your foot, still framing the foot somewhat. Put your weight into the leg, lift the back leg up, and look ahead. So you can have your blocks here, come up to your fingertips, or you can have your hands at your heart. So you choose where you want to be. Get nice and long, look ahead, breathe in, breathe out. One more, big breath, and reach back. Come back to Warrior One. And this time, bring the hands to the block, lightly touch, lift the right leg, and let's create little knee bends here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Step back and reach back up. Warrior 1. Warrior 2. Nice wide stance, arms in T-pose. The left knee is going in the same direction as your toes, looking over the left hand. Breathe deeply. And then turn the palm up, reach up and back, peaceful warrior. Step to the front, shake it up, step your left leg back, front knee bent, come into warrior 1, squeeze the inner thighs towards the midline, and to your heart, come forward, hands to the blocks, lift the left leg, light touch. If you can, bring your hands back to your heart. If not, the blocks are there for you. And step back, warrior 1. So we're going to come forward again, hands to the blocks this time, lift and little knee bends. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Step back, warrior 1. And then turn for warrior 2. Look over the right hand. Turn your palm up, reach up and back. And come back to warrior 2 and step forward. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, bow forward, and let's come down to a seated pose. So bend your knees and sink them down. Set your blocks aside. Extend the legs out. All right, we're going to lie back and take our block and lift up and place the block on the lowest level underneath your sacrum. Your sacrum is that flat bone at the base of your spine, kind of triangular shaped, and you let the sacrum rest on the block. Let your heels turn out, your knees tilt in, arms rest by your side. This pose is called supported bridge. And this is a very passive pose, but it feels really good to the low back to just sink into the block. Take a few deep breaths here. Now we're going to lift up and go to a higher level on the block. Now, if that's not your cup of tea, if you prefer to stay where you are, that's absolutely fine. Otherwise, you lift up and just rotate the block up to the second level. Again, you're sinking your sacrum right into the block and just letting your body sink into the block and relax. Try to keep your gaze going up to the ceiling. Your neck is relaxed. Breathe in, breathe out, and let the block do its thing. Take a couple more deep breaths. Now the highest level is a little more challenging, and again, if you prefer to stay where you are, that's absolutely fine, or if you get into the high level and don't like it, come right back to where you like to be. So to lift up for the highest level, you lift your hips and you kind of have to lift up through the balls of your feet, through the tiptoes. Get the block position right under your sacrum, and you're in a pretty intense little back bend here. And again though, it's very passive. You're letting the weight of your hips sink into the block. Work your breath. And then when we come out of it, we just lift up, move the block out of the way, and gently roll down. Bring your knees into your chest, hug them in, rock a little bit side to side. Kind of invite that low back to just sink and relax. And then extend your legs out. So it's time for our Shavasana, our deep relaxation part of the practice. And it's tempting sometimes to skip this, but this is really an important part of the practice. It gives the body a few moments to just absorb all the good work that you've done and allows you to regroup and be ready to move on with your day. So allow your legs to relax. Allow your arms to rest by your side, palms up. Feel the heaviness of your head and your shoulders. Close your eyes. Let your breath go soft and natural. And let your mind kind of wander. Just let yourself get totally relaxed. Just letting go, surrendering all to the mat. Letting all the sounds that you hear just carry you a little bit deeper into that relaxed, calm state. Now you can lie here for as long as you like, but if you're pressed for time, just begin to wiggle your fingers and toes. Maybe bend your knees, bring them to your chest, and turn to your side for a few moments and a few deep breaths. And then coming up to a seated position, you really help yourself with your hands and your forearms. Coming up, taking a moment, coming back into an easy seated pose. Again, take a deep breath. And thank you for joining me. Bring your hands to your heart. Namaste, y'all.